Oh my god, it's Sunny. Hey, Sunny.
Hey, what's up, Brian? Hey, so a bunch of us are. Wait, dude. What are you wearing?
I'm just holding a little summoning circle over here. I'm trying to bring Google Stadia back to life.
Wait, what?
Yeah, summon the Dark Lord, sacrifice a controller, and Stadia comes back to life. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Stadia's alive, dude. Not only is it alive, today's the 2-year anniversary.
The summoning circle worked.
All right, man. Listen, clearly you're busy, so I'm just gonna let you do you right now, and I'm gonna head
I
out.
brought Google Stadia back to life. Bring me my movie pass.
Are you listening?
Hey, welcome to the Nerf Report. My name is Bryant. Happy Stadiaversary. I hope you guys like that sketch, and a special shout out to Sunny Cloud Gaming for helping me film that. Like many of you, I am a big fan of Sunny, but if you haven't done so already, please do me a favor and go check out their content. Trust me when I say this, you will not regret it. Well, the big news of the day is Stadia is now 2 years old. And as cliche as this may sound, it feels like we literally just filmed our Stadia Year 1 review yesterday, and quite frankly, a lot has happened since then. I mean, during year 2 of Stadia, we made a one-of-one custom Stadia controller. We put Stadia to the test by getting it to run on the least reliable internet that we could find at a hotel. It still blows my mind, but we got Stadia to stream video games to my Oculus Quest 2 VR headset. We tested Stadia out on Walmart's $14 streaming stick, on iOS devices, on Samsung tablets, and we even flew 3,000 miles to an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean to see if we could get Stadia to work in an unsupported market. And as much as I want you to go watch that video, spoiler alert, it worked just fine. But seeing that today is the 2-year anniversary, like last year, I wanted to do a video where we talk about the last 12 months of Google Stadia. And like the year before, the question on my mind is Stadia better than it was 12 months ago? And quite frankly, I mean, there are a lot of different ways that you can frame that question. Like easily, the most impactful moment in the last 12 months for Stadia was the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment. In the beginning of 2021, Stadia decided to shutter its production house that was responsible for creating exclusive games for the platform. So if having exclusive games on the platform is something that's important to you, the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment would likely force you to paint year 2 negatively. And if that's how you feel, rightfully so. I mean, this was a huge moment. And for many, it was seen as the end of the platform forever. However, the irony in that statement is that since Stadia closed Stadia Games and Entertainment, the platform has actually had more platform exclusives than the year it did when Stadia Games and Entertainment was even open. That's right, in year 1, Stadia had platform exclusivity for Guilt, Get Packed, Orcs Must Die 3, Gunsport, and Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battles. Whereas in year 2, Stadia had platform exclusivity for games like Outcasters, Submerged Hidden Depths, Young Souls, Pixel Junk Raiders, Hello Engineer, and Wavetail. But I definitely think that we should note that many of these games were negotiated prior to the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment. So do not expect this in year 3. I mean, Stadia has truly stopped pursuing platform exclusive titles. In fact, the only 2 remaining exclusive titles that are kind of just floating out there in the wilderness are games from Harmonix and Supermassive Games, which Stadia announced partnerships for exclusive titles back in 2020. And look, I want to be as transparent as I can be. I have no idea what's going on with those games. I have reached out to Harmonix and Supermassive Games, and I'm probably quite frankly blacklisted by both of those developers, but I've been trying to get an update on those 2 titles, and it has been pure radio silence. But outside of exclusives and the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment, Stadia still has had an impactful year. Stadia as a platform added 120 games in year 2, which included the likes of Resident Evil Village, Little Nightmares 2, Life is Strange True Colors, Far Cry 6, Madden NFL 22, FIFA 22, 2, and Ark Survival Evolved. And as far as Stadia's subscription service goes, Stadia Pro saw the addition of 65 Pro titles, which is up from the previous year, which had 46 Pro games added to the service. But, fun fact here, if you've been subscribed to Stadia Pro since November of 2020, you've added a total of 91 games to your library. And even crazier, if you've been a Stadia Pro since the very beginning, in November of 2019, you now have 112 games, combining for a total value of nearly $3,000 worth of video games, which Stadia Pro members only paid about $200 for. Now, on the topic of games, we should also note that Year 2 saw a big push from Stadia in adding free video games to the platform, which saw games like Destiny 2, Super Bomberman, Crata, Hitman Starter Pack, and the From Space multiplayer demo become available to anyone with a Stadia account. You don't need Stadia Pro to play these games. Literally all you need is a Gmail address and you can actually play any of these games on Google Stadia. But games aside, Stadia also spent a good portion of Year 2 focusing in on improving how Stadia works and how it can be played. For example, in Year 2, Stadia added support for the brand new Chromecast with Google TV, Android TV devices. Stadia arrived on iOS devices thanks to a brand new web app. In Year 2, Google also announced support for the Samsung tablets and phones, along with teasing a partnership at CES, which would see Stadia come to LG televisions as a native Google Stadia app for the TV. And on the topic of improving the overall Stadia experience, Stadia has added new features like Phone Link, which turns your phone into a secondary controller while playing on television, tablet, or your computer. Stadia also announced Direct Touch, which greatly improves the experience for mobile games that require custom touch or finger movement to play. And on the Stadia platform, we saw things like public parties, improvements to voice chat, a long requested search bar. Stadia introduced free-to-play weekends, a new Explore tab, a new optimized streaming option for playing video games on mobile, a new revenue share program for developers, and maybe the biggest improvement for the platform, timed trials, which allows Stadia players to try out games for a predetermined amount of time. Which brings us full circle to the question in the beginning of the video: is Stadia better than it was before? And this is where it's a real shame that Stadia closed down Stadia Games and Entertainment, because the answer for me is yes. Stadia has made some huge improvements from an accessibility and a user experience perspective, creating a much more flushed out Stadia where it actually feels like a well thought out platform. However, a moment as impactful as the closing of Stadia Games and Entertainment kind of looms over all of that awesomeness and takes away from, some of the cool things that happened this year. But that being said, Year 1, I think we gave Stadia like a B-, and I think Year 2 would be right around that same thing, like a B-. I mean, let's face it, Stadia added new games. They continue to add to the value of Stadia Pro. They added new features like Direct Touch and Phone Link, and they are constantly making efforts to improve the service as a whole. For me, Year 2 was a lot of fun, but it does kind of raise the question of where does Stadia go next? And luckily for us, in their blog post celebrating the 2-year anniversary, Google wrote, "We're eager to continue working on bringing the best games and new features to our community of players so that we can help build a bright future for cloud gaming. Continuing feature experiments with the goal of making it easier for players to get into games and try Stadia for themselves. Expanding all categories of games content, not just more games overall, but new types of games that we have heard players ask for, including genres like online action games, open world titles, plus free games, trials, and demos, along with bringing Stadia to more devices and making it easier to access, purchase, and play games by yourself or with friends." Which to me sounds like a really solid Year 3, and I can't wait to see what Google has in store for all of us as we move into this next year. I guess to wrap this up, let me know your thoughts on Year 2 of Stadia. Do you agree or do you disagree with my opinion here? What content of ours from Year 2 of Stadia did you like the most? As always, I'm really interested to hear your thoughts here, so please let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. Hey, thanks again for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw and you want to see more content just like it, which Who wouldn't? Hit the subscribe button right there. And while you're down there, hit the like button. Maybe even consider becoming a Nerf Report best friend, just like the people listed down below did. In fact, don't you want to see your name there? I know I do.